We are the Bears, shuffling crew, shuffling on down, doing it for you. We're so bad, we know we're good, blowing your mind like we knew we would. You know we're just strutting for fun, strutting our stuff for everyone. We're not here to start no trouble, we're just here to do the Super Bowl show.
Thank you so much for clicking play and joining me on this episode of She Got Next. I'm going to do my best to chill because I am beyond the mood. I'm so thrilled to be talking to my guest today. Her name is Ashton Washington. She's a scout / player personnel coordinator for the Chicago Bears. Ashton, hello. Thanks so much for joining me today.
What's up, Oh? Good to see you.
As I said, I'm going to try to contain myself. I told my boyfriend I've been watching a lot of profiles on you, reading interviews, and I'm like, I'm ready to put on my pads and jump through a brick wall for Ashton. She's got me hyped. If she says like, hey, get in your 3-point stance, I'm ready. I did my exercise this morning. I worked out my back a bit. But that's how excited I am to talk with you, Ashton. You're such an inspiration, which probably sounds annoying, but I'm thrilled to share with my audience a bit about your journey, about your story. And as I said, I watched a number of profiles about you leading up to this conversation. And something that kind of stood out to me was a lot of folks describe you in a way where you're transcending race and gender. Two huge things that I think as Black women we're constantly confronted with. But it made me kind of go back and like, let me make sure I know the definition of transcend, because it feels heavy to me. And as I looked it up, it reads this way: to go beyond, rise above, or exceed limitations, whether physical, intellectual, or cultural. Now, again, to transcend sounds dope, but to me, it feels like it could be a lot of pressure. You are the first woman, the first Black woman to have this position with the Chicago Bears. And it feels like it has to be, like you have to be an extraordinary person to overcome the limitations or expectations of others, set by others. And I'm a stickler, I'm a brat about some of this stuff, but I'd like to know like how that word, how it feels, thinking about it as an opportunity to transcend or the pressure to have to transcend, again, other people's ideas and expectations about what you're capable of.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to, one, do this interview, two, to research about me and watch profiles. Like that means so much to me. So thank you. Transcend, that word is huge. Exactly what you said. Thank you for the definition. That was but yeah, it's, for me, it's an incredible opportunity that I couldn't not take. So when I was given the opportunity in 2021 to work with the Chicago Bears as a scouting assistant, that was a no-brainer. Not a lot of people get that opportunity to do that. And so at that time I said, yes. And here we are. So from 2021 training camp all the way up until now to 2025, heading to my 5th season. I like I said, I couldn't let it go. I had to take the chance and be a part of the team.
I understand the need to take advantage of an opportunity that's like once in a lifetime, to be able to get that call, have that invitation to join such a legendary organization, one of the founding teams in the NFL.
Yep.
And just even hearing you say that reminded me of a part of a profile that I saw about you done on the NFL Network. And it started with, yes, I watched it. Like I'm telling you, I am ready to run through walls.
Hey, we did that part of it. We're in the room that I'm in currently right now, in the draft room. It was awesome.
It's such a great profile, and I'm going to add a link to it and the notes from the show, because I think everyone should watch it and just be inspired again by the honesty of the journey that you share. But the profile started with you as a young girl. You're talking about how you used to lay in bed and dream about doing something great. And initially you didn't know what that great thing was, but you just felt it. You wanted to do something great. And through reading profiles, I don't know if it was autobiographies or biographies of great leaders, you thought about the ways in which you can contribute. Who were you reading about as a kid wanting to do great things?
I was reading about Malcolm X. I was reading about different presidents, learning how they work in leadership. I'm like obsessed with Navy SEALs. So anything that has to do with military, I'm all in that. But those are just a couple.
You're often described in some of the profiles that, again, I read and watched as having that mamba mentality. And you often say, job's not done, job's not finished.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that quote from Kobe.
I love that.
Yes.
Yes.
In reading about some of these leaders and the ways in which they approach the challenge, how they are leaders of individuals, of men, of women, of making moves to change heaven and earth for a particular goal. As a kid, I'm wondering how you were even introduced to Kobe and his mentality. And when you read about him, saw him, learned about the ways in which he approached the game, did you say to yourself, I want to be like that? Or were you thinking, oh, he's my person, I'm like him, I see myself in his mentality?
Yeah. So I play basketball, right? I tell everybody I'm a washed up hooper. That's what I am. But during that time,
same. I played high school. I'm washed up. Yeah.
Yeah. But during that time, my favorite player was Kobe Bryant. So we always talk about generations. Like one generation has Michael Jordan, we have Kobe, others have LeBron James, and so on. But mine was Kobe Bryant. So everything that I wanted to do on the court was modeled after him, whether it's on the court, off the court. And then as I continued to grow and, of course, no longer play basketball competitively, I started using football as basketball. So it turned into that for me because I still have that competitive edge as an athlete. And so now this is a different competitive edge. And then now the difference as well is growing and continuing to get better as a leader and being better with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's less about me, more about my team and more about those around me. And that's what all of that has incorporated from, literally the mamba mentality.
It's so funny.
It's crazy to say.
It's funny that you talk about the generations, like who grew up with you. I am a bit older than you, Ashton. I grew up with Sweetness and Mike Singletary. And the Super Bowl shuffle. I'm like, insert video here of the Super Bowl shuffle.
You can do the dance.
Yes. I was watching it again. I'm like, look at Jim McMahon and the rapping. That I'm like, I wonder if they all wrote their own.
I've got a poster of that.
So funny. Yeah. I was a little girl. I wasn't that old back then, but still that was my generation of heroes. But thinking about, again, going back to the mama mentality, there's an approach that you adapted looking at a hero of yours. And now that you tap into with the work that you do as a scout, as you're evaluating people, athletes, watching them, talking to them, I wonder if you're looking at them thinking, do they also have that mamba mentality, and how you identify that in the work they put on the field and in the conversations that you have?
Yeah, I think it goes to a credit to, I'm a big, huge believer in the team. So when I say the team, I'm talking about from Ryan Poles, our general manager, assistant GM, Ian Cunningham, directors of pro, directors of college. I can go down the list, pro scouts, college scouts, analytics, most importantly, our scouting assistants, James, Ryan, Pat. Like, it's a collective group when we go into the room that I'm currently in, the draft room, to evaluate these players and to find players like you're talking about with the mamba mentality. Like, on the wall in front of me is basically our gears for what a Chicago Bear is. And the main thing that I love on this gear is the grit factor. And I'm looking up at it right now, but we just added that, recently. We're like, we need to get this in there. And that's a huge factor of day in and day out, right? That grit factor goes in when you don't want to play anymore, but you fight through and you push through and you fight through that pain. So again, it goes into all of us evaluating that talent.
Well, you mentioned all of the people that are involved with evaluating.
Long list, right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a big job, and you got a lot of people in Chicago and across the country. I was not born and raised in Chicago. I'm from the Bay Area, but I grew up a Bears fan thanks to my dad.
I love it.
Again, doing the Super Bowl shuffle in front of the television. But there's a level of expectation there year after year. And I've heard the GM, Ryan Poles, describe you as being like the nucleus of the organization. So much information is funneled through you, given to you, and then passed around to all the people that you named. And I think about, like, once you have all of that information, like, what is your role exactly in sharing that out with trainers, with teams, with the front office and the folks that are on the field?
Yeah.
What that everyday kind of work looks like for you?
So of course, every day is different, right? This is not the same, but there are similar things within each day. So once I get information, whether that's from directors of college, director of pro, or that's from our director of player personnel, GM, assistant GM, like it's, again, what you're saying, it's all filtered through. But I'm delivering information to, let's say, to player engagement, to equipment, to athletic training, to sports sciences. Like there's so many different avenues. And being able to do that is what we talked about at the beginning, is incorporating people, being good with people, learning everybody's personalities, because not everybody's the same, right? But yeah, filtering that information and deciphering where it needs to go is a huge part of my role. And I love that, actually. A lot of people, they come in, like, let's say we have interns that come in and they always say, yeah, I want to, do pro scouting, or I want to do college scouting. I've never had anybody come in and say, I want to do Ashton's role. and that's okay. But that's something that I've noticed, because a lot of people are like, yeah, you got a lot going on, Ash.
There's a lot of information that you have to hold in your mind at once. Again, from what I've read and even what you're sharing, like that's a lot. In thinking about identifying athletes, I kind of think of it as two ways, especially when I watch Hard Knocks. I was rewatching the Bears Hard Knocks from 2024, getting hyped again. That show always gets me. But thinking about players kind of existing in two ways, there are folks that you can see, you can read the data around them, and you're like, they would fit well in our system. They plug this hole, they can contribute in these ways, and that's a perfect fit. And then there are other players you see. Again, I'm imagining this, I'm not a scout, but you're like, this is generational talent. We're going to create a system around this player to optimize their potential, because that's just how great they are. And I wonder what it feels like, if it's true that you have to hold those two things simultaneously, where it makes sense to create systems and or where it makes sense to plug and play a particular athlete.
Yeah. So it's really about the team needs and the overall depth, right? So you want to be good now, you want to be good 5 years from now, you want to be good 10 years from now. And that's essentially what we're doing. And that's what you want to continue to do, is to bring what's the most important? Bring a Super Bowl to Chicago. We need another Super Bowl trophy downstairs in the main entrance. So that is our goal when we come in this room all together as college scouts, pro scouts, and we watch the film and we go through and see who can be the best Chicago Bear, and to turn into exactly what you said, that generational talent. But it's all about, like I said, bringing in what we need and how best that fits for us.
I appreciate you talking about, like, again, thinking about short-term, long-term. And it kind of makes me think about going back to how you kind of got started. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know you grew up in Texas.
Yeah.
When I talk to people who are from Texas, I know football is king there.
Absolutely.
And I'm a big fan of Friday Night Lights. So if Texans actually hate this, like the clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. Is that super annoying to Texans?
No, like not at all.
Not at all. Well, I know that you, I don't know if we actually mentioned this before, but your dad was a coach. You grew up watching him coach your brother, who's in his third year with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yep. You had some cousins in the league. So clearly football is in the blood. It was all around you. But in college is when you decided to pursue a career in football. And I've said this on this show before, representation matters. But for some folks, they have to be first. There is no representation. And to step into this role to pursue your dreams, I wonder, what best describes your pursuit of your dreams? Was it bravery, boldness, maybe a little bit of arrogance? If any of those words make sense to describe the truth of your journey, let's go ahead and throw those out there. But if there are any other words you would use to say, this is a unique path, but I'm going to be the first. I'm going to be maybe one of only or one of a few, and not be afraid to go hard out for it.
I think growing up around like my younger brother, my cousins, I've always been the only girl in our central group, and growing up with them just made me tough, right? And so with that being said, I never thought about being the first of anything. I just wanted to be in football. Like, that's what I wanted to do. If I didn't make any money, I still wanted to work in football. So I think that's how I looked at it. And that's what's helped me to get to where I am now, is just going for the love and the passion of the game. Because you got to think about this. Working in football, whether that's the high school football, college football, NFL, CFL, XFL, or UFL, like you're around your coworkers more than anybody, right? So I see the people I work with in this building more than I see my own family. And you got to have some love and some passion for the game in order to do that, or you'll fold, right?
You had a role in the XFL. You worked for Texas Tech. You had worked for an incredible legend in sports, in my mind, Lovie Smith. He's the former head coach of the Bears, of the Bucks, of the Texans. You joined his team in Illinois. And I wonder if there are any Lovieisms that you continue to carry with you into this role.
Oh, yeah. So when I was at Illinois, that was my first Power 5 opportunity. So he took a chance on someone that was fresh out of college. I was young, and I was just ready to work. And he was the first one to say, hey, I believe in you. You want to move to Champaign? And so I moved to Champaign, Illinois. And from there, just skyrocketed. But I learned a lot there because during that time, Coach Smith, he ran our football program like it was an NFL program. So there's a lot of things that I noticed when I got to the Bears. I was like, I've done this before. This is similar. And it was all because of what I did at the University of Illinois that has helped me here and transcend what I do now.
What did Lovie tell you? I'm just saying his name, Lovie, like we're homies or something. Mr. Smith, potentially. What did he tell you about hiring you? What was it about you that he saw and said, like, I trust in you, your insight, your dedication to the task? What was it that he said to you that said, like, I think you fit here?
Being personable, and most importantly, being prepared and organized and knowing football, knowing the game and loving it. Those were the qualities. When I did my interview, it was on Zoom. And so I'm in Texas doing the interview. Of course, he's in Champaign, Illinois. And I remember I wore an orange blazer and I had like a blue type of shirt, but I did the Illini colors. And they always say, we remember that. We remember that. We remember that. But yeah, it was just being prepared. And like I said, being organized, being personable. And most importantly, again, I'm going to keep saying it, the love for the game, the love for football.
Hearing you describe yourself in that way, one, the love of the game, but even hearing it back from Lovie Smith saying that the dedication to it, the details, loving the X and
O's. The detail, that's the piece, the
details. When I went around the internet searching for information about you, Ashton, I ran into some of your social media pages. And some of them are private, everybody. It's not our business. But you did have some lovely quotes that were there, and they just kind of hit me. The first one I want to ask you about, what does chop wood, carry water mean for you in your day-to-day?
Chop wood, carry water is continuing to push through, right? You're going to have some days where you have 50% of energy, but you got to give 110. Chop wood, carry water. There's some days that you have 110 and you're going to push 110. Again, chop wood, carry water. It's just a continuous process. Similar to the mamba mentality. You're just continuing to get better. And it's something that me and my brother use. Like I text him, call him, and vice versa. He calls me, texts me. We talk every single day. That is my best friend. If you were to ever meet him and talk to him, you'll be like, that's definitely her brother. But that's something that me and him use. Like he wakes up at 4:30 in the morning and he'll text me, chop wood, carry water. As simple as that. And just a reminder to just keep going.
Ashton, you're like what, 20 something, 25, 27, 23? You're super young.
I'm old. I wish I was 23.
As an old lady, I'm like, you may as well be 12. You may as well be 12 of mine. But again, like the way in which you carry yourself, your mentality is, again, inspiring and encouraging. And I just wonder, thinking through your professional journey as the little girl lying in bed, thinking about wanting to do something great, knowing the necessity of, again, chopping wood, carrying water. Does it feel great where you are now? Like you're doing the thing that you were dreaming of when you were young?
I think it didn't hit me until probably last year, when I was like sitting back. I sat back and I thought about it. I was like, I work for the Chicago Bears, a charter franchise. I am in this role as scouting coordinator. I am what Poles nicknamed the nuclear of this, helping with this, assisting with this, and building a winning team. Like, not a lot of people, again, you said you almost on my age, almost, but not a lot of people at my age can say that they're doing that. So I had to sit back and have a lot of gratitude and look back of all the things that I have overcame, that I've worked through, that I've done to get to this point. Like, it wasn't easy. There's a lot of times where I could have been like, yeah, I'm gonna just give up on football, but I didn't. There's a lot of no's that I got that didn't let me, like, didn't deter how I thought about my process and what I was doing. So just sitting back and having gratitude and thinking about everything has helped me the most. And again, I did that last year because I am so focused on chop wood, carry water, and so focused on being present that I didn't realize, exactly where I was. Like, you know what I mean? The big aspect of this, the impact of this. And so I do this in the office, and I do this with a couple contacts around the league. I say, hey, you are 1 out of 32, whether you're an intern, a scouting assistant, a director, a scouting coordinator, you are 1 out of 32. And that's something that a lot of us, I don't want to say take for granted, but I think we forget that. Like, that's huge. And we just got to continue to appreciate that moment. It's huge. And all I can say is I am very blessed and I'm very thankful.
I can appreciate how challenging it may be to have to take pause with the kind of schedule that you keep year round. You're in the office, you're on the field. Yeah. Like, so it can be a challenge to sit back and think, oh yeah, I've accomplished some things. I'm allowed to feel good. I'm allowed to reflect and think like, yeah, I've overcome so many things, while you're also envisioning how much further you can go. Now, again, as I said over and over again, I watched a lot of interviews of you, Ashton, and
thank you.
Your GM and ownership of the Bears have said she's going to be a GM one day. It's just obvious. She's so good. We can see her there. And as someone who is very present, I know you've said before in the past in other interviews, I'm focused where my feet are. You're intentional about where you are. But hearing other people talk about you in a way where they are predicting your future because of what they see right now, what does that feel like? Having to, again, stay present, but also have a vision for your future, knowing that others see that for you.
Yeah, it's what I continue to say is thank you. Because for me, I'm going to sound cliche, but I'm exactly what you just said. I'm where my feet are. I'm trying to be the best scouting coordinator I can be. I'm trying to continue to learn, to evolve, to grow, to build. Those are my main things for me personally. And I wanted that to spread to those around me, to my team, to those I work with, is that we're all on a journey to be our best selves and also be the best collective group. So that's all I can say is just thank you for our owners, the McCaskey family, our president, Kevin Warren, our general manager, Ryan Poles, for thinking that highly of me. During that time of last year when I went through just being thankful, being grateful, being appreciative, I was reading our founder's book. So I was reading George Halas's book, his autobiography that he wrote. And in that book is where I was writing all of my gratitude notes, whether that was personal or professional. And that's something that I'm going to keep with me forever. I have it at home on my bookshelf, but I took that time and read that book. And we have a lot of similarities. I learned his personality is similar as mine. Of course, I didn't get a chance to meet him, but reading the book, I felt like I built a relationship during that process.
I think that's what's really valuable about reading biographies and autobiographies is it's not just the mystique, right? Like, wow, they achieved this great thing. But when you dive into the details of how they got there, the challenges and choices they had to make along the way, the ups and downs, the support or the lack thereof, it humanizes them. And you're really able to adapt that to your own journey and find, again, those commonalities and ways in which that you can approach the challenges that you're facing. I don't know why I'm giving you this speech right now. You already know all of this, Ashton.
No, I appreciate it. I love it.
I typically like to end conversations like this with five similar questions, but for you, I'm going to ask them differently. It's different in this way. And I brought this up earlier that I was ready to put on pads and get in the 3-point stance if you ask me to. But there are a lot of valuable things that can be achieved when you get in that 3-point stance. And 3 of them are stability, power, and leverage. So I'm going to ask you questions about those 3. With the confidence the organization has in your ability to contribute and to evaluate prospects, what does that stability do for you and allow you to do as a member of the team?
Continue to learn, grow, and build. Those 3. Being able to feel comfortable to speak up in a room like the draft room, in our directors' meetings, different meetings that we have in the building, being able to share my thoughts, and whether that's something that people like or something people don't like, but having that ability to have confidence in me and to hear what I think, and having valuable insight. I think that's the biggest thing that plays a part of the stability piece.
The power piece, the power you have to impact the lives of those around you in the front office, in the field, the players and the players' family. What does having that power and influence feel like to you?
I think as a collective group, we have the ability to change not only the players' lives, but the players' families' lives. This is a life-changing experience for those that get drafted, or even those that go undrafted, that make a 53 or make a practice squad. This is life-changing for them and their families. And I think that's huge to have that ability to do that.
And the last is leverage. It kind of ties into a question that I often ask folks, and I probably put it in the email invitation to you, how you're creating space for the next generation of women in the industry. How are you leveraging your position as a scout for the Chicago Bears to support the growth and development of women in the industry? I think I know the answer. You've got a scholarship, but I want you to describe it. I don't know why I did that. I should have just let you say it.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. So I do have a scholarship. So the Ashton Washington Women of Color Scholarship. It's based in Mississippi. So it's for young ladies in the state of Mississippi planning to go to an HBCU. I went to an HBCU, not in Mississippi, but in Austin, Texas, Houston-Tillotson University. So that is centered around, and you're going to think this is crazy, but it's for young women, again, that aren't just doing football. It's for anything that they want to do. We've got lawyers, we've got doctors, like anything that they want to do. But I just want to be a part of their journey in some way, somehow, to help with that, to get them to the next level of what they're trying to do.
Where did the desire to create, or the idea even to create the scholarship, come from?
When I got my first Power 5 opportunity at the University of Illinois, that was my first time receiving a paycheck that was nice, that I've never received. And it wasn't a lot, but it was something that I've never had. I've always worked in football for free, or for, a little amount to do what I got to do. And when I first got my paycheck, I was like, I wasn't even thinking about rent, groceries, or anything. I was thinking about giving back, giving it away. And so I sat down in my office later that evening. I think it was probably like a couple weeks into the job. And I was like, I was mapping it out. I was like, I got to figure out how to give back, or how to make this into a scholarship.
Wow.
And that was when I started it.
It's huge. That's a huge deal, to automatically be thinking about ways to give back. I feel like you were going to say something else. Is there another thing you want to shout out, the ways in which you're creating space for the next women in the industry?
Meeting people in person, meeting people at the combine, at the all-star games, connecting with them, checking in with them, and vice versa, having them do the same with me. I think the mentor or mentee situation, it happens organically, and that's how I look at it. And that's what's happened for me over the past couple of years now. And the most important piece to that is, and I say this all the time, you're gonna think I'm old. I say this all the time. I'm going to be the best scouting coordinator that I can be right now, right? I'm going to be the best one I can be. I'm going to learn, grow, I'm going to build. But whoever comes behind me, like who's behind me right now, generation-wise, I want them to be better than me. I want you to pass me. So I'm going to keep setting the bar high, keep executing, right? but I want them to essentially pass me. That's what you really want.
That's the kind of legacy we should all be striving for. Well, I'll go ahead and ask you some of the typical questions that I end the show with. What is an early sports memory that you have? Something that has stuck with you? A first or early sports memory from childhood or from youth? And you've been surrounded by football your whole life. So I imagine a number of things might be coming to your mind right now.
When I look back and I think about my brother catching a one-handed catch in the rain, in the mud, and he was like 9 or 10. I remember that. We still got the YouTube video of it. That was insane. And then
not quite unique, but pretty unusual. Clifford over the top, and a one-handed catch by Parker Washington. What a play.
I got to give a second. The second one was, it was, again, my brother, watching him in Little League. Again, it was muddy and rainy. It always happens around that. And he was playing up. And I remember, again, my dad was coaching him. Parker got hit really, really hard. Like I'm talking about tackled really hard, knocked out his teeth. Teeth were on the ground. My dad, he told me the story, but we were up in the stands watching. He said that the ref walks over to bring the teeth to him and was like, hey, your son wanted me to give you these. And my dad looked, and he's thinking Parker's about to come out the game. He looks up, Parker's running another play.
Oh my gosh.
So those are the two best ones.
Wild. The second one is wild. I mean, they're both incredible. A lot of my first memories are with playing with football or baseball or something with my brother in the street, and there's some kind of injury involved, but never teeth. Was he like bleeding from the mouth? Like I might be too graphic.
At that moment, my daddy said, he's a dog. He's a dog.
Birthday's on ice. We've got 12 more minutes in this game. We got another quarter to go, and
you got to keep going.
That's insane. What about a sports movie that you often quote or that you watch over and over again?
Remember the Titans?
You're the second one. You're the second one to name that movie. Was there a scene?
Yeah, when they ask for water and you can't get no water at practice. That's the best part. We're doing up downs. Yeah, I love that.
You say? We need a water break. You need a water break. Water is for cowards. Water makes you weak. Water is for washing blood off that uniform, and you don't get no blood on my uniform. Boy, you must be outside your mind. We are going to do up downs until Blue is no longer tired and thirsty.
The classic.
Well, lastly, I'm going to ask you to do this. If there's anybody in particular that you want to shout out as a thank you, as someone who supported and encouraged you throughout this journey, that you just want to spend some time thinking and talking about the way in which they impacted your journey, I'm going to stop talking and let you say that now.
Well, I can't say one name because I might make somebody mad if I miss them.
Two or three? Top 2 or 3?
I'm going to say one. I'm going to say my grandma. So I'm a big granny's girl. That's my best friend. We talk all the time. So that would be one. And then the rest, I'm going to say it's a village. It takes a village to build and to grow and for me to keep going. It takes the village that's behind me. So Granny's one, though. She's number one.
Thank you so much, Ashton. I'm so thrilled I was able to have this conversation with you. I'm excited about the start of the season. We're a week away. I'm expecting great things, as everyone should. It's that time of year.
Look, we just want to stay healthy. And of course, most importantly, we want to win and bring a Super Bowl back to Chicago.
Hey, that's what I'm talking
about.
Let's go. Thank you again for joining me. Wishing you all the best in the season to come.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for watching either on YouTube, listening on Spotify, or following along on LinkedIn and Instagram. Please be sure to subscribe and share the show with everybody you've met in your entire life. Until next time.